Good evening everyone and welcome to SRS Motorsports League. We are here for Season 2. It is round 1 of the championship as we take in the legendary circuit, the second best circuit I think in the UK. It is Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, of course, famously known for hosting Formula 1 in the past and of course hosting the GT World Challenge among the GTMs, stuff like that as well. I am James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream for tonight and indeed for the rest of the season as well. And we ride on board with CEO, who's a brand new driver here to our session. And CEO will be hoping to try and get a very good lap time out on track. Currently these guys are in practice. We're about to start qualifying any second now. And hopefully we're going to be seeing some good action. You can see CEO improving. He is a tenth of a second up on Black, nearly 0.2 of a second up on Black. There is Black, the other TSR driver, the defending champion, of course, from last season and Season 1. Tice there in third, currently in practice. Remember, practice really doesn't affect things. Qualifying is going to be happening very soon indeed. And I'm just going to put in my response to things in the chat. There we are, and we can now start the qualifier session. 10 minutes, I think, in terms of length, and then we've got a 60-minute race for you guys here out on track tonight. So, Brands Hatch readying for our drivers, and we are ready to go now for Season 2, Round 1, around here at Brands Hatch. That is the best camera angle in the world to start off with, but Tice is the first one out on track, and you can hear the SRS Motorsports car coming through now, turn 1 at Paddock Hill Bend. Of course, the British touring cars were around here earlier on today, in fact, and Ash Sutton took the BTCC Championship for 2020, beat Colin Turkington and Dan Camish to the title. But these guys are focusing on the GT3s, and Tice will be hoping to set a very good lap time around here as we see a lot of squealing, in fact, and that is Bo Fushidara off through Graham Hill Bend, just on the run down towards Graham Hill Bend there, and hopefully they'll be able to recover the car there in the McLaren. We've got quite a few new drivers as well. 10 minutes worth of qualifying, as I say, 60 minutes worth of racing action. And now Tice for SideMax Motorworks. SideMax Motorworks, of course, winning the event that we covered on the channel just a couple of weeks ago, SMM versus SDM. Now, I was your commentator for that, so if you're recognising me from anywhere, it's probably from there. And of course, I raced last season in SRS Season 1. And now putting my attention to Season 2 as Tice will take us on a lap of the Brands Hatch circuit. Of course, the Grand Prix circuit initially held races here within the 1970s when Silverstone was getting redone. And now Tice coming out to the final corner to start us off on a lap. And we'll try and mix up the camera angle slightly on this lap. K&K Doug Viper are the next 3 to come across the line. But Tice with a clear track on the run down towards Turn 1, and Turn 1 of course being Paddock Hill Bend, and now up Pilgrim's Rise up towards Druid's Hairpin at the top, underneath the Palmer Sport logo bridge over the top. And now down towards Graham Hill Bend. Tice through the first sector, 17 flat. Exactly where you want to be in setting a good time around here at Brands Hatch. Expect the times to be toward the low end of the 122s, maybe even a 121 if drivers have got slipstream. But Tice through now the second sector. It's a 29.8 through the middle sector through 30s. And then on the run down, Pilgrim's Drop towards Hawthorne Bend, which is turn 5 out on the circuit. Only 9 turns, don't count the kinks as we go along. But Tice now coming through Hawthorne very nicely indeed, and now on Derek Minter Straight towards Westfield. Westfield, of course, being named after the shopping centre in London. And now through Dingledale and towards Sheen Curve, which is the next corner out on track, through turn 7, and then through turn 8, which is going to be through Stirling. Stirling, of course, named after the legendary Stirling Moss, who sadly passed away earlier on this year. And now on the run through Clearways and on towards Clark Curve. Clark Curve is the final corner out on track for Tice. We see the Mercedes fly through there, looking very nice indeed, and Tice will be hoping it's had a good time. We'll follow him now to the line, and Tice sets off a 122.7. That is not a bad lap so far from Tice. We've got K&K Doc coming through our camera shot now, the Spaniard, to go second. He's only a 10th off, and that is Viper going 600th off Tice as well. We'll see how CEO's getting on. CEO is improving. Oh, and he goes quickest, 122.2. Superboy 23.7. See where Palmer is out on track as well. T5 Black was purple through the third sector there. As Palmer now comes around the final corner, he'd be hoping to try and beat Black, beat CEO as well, our defending champion Black, of course. Palmer across the line, he goes second, 900ths off. Black though looks like he's going quicker than CO, and by 1,000th of a second he takes the early spoils here in qualifying with just over 6 minutes to go in the session. Black on top, CO second, Palmer in third. Top three separated by less than 1/10 of a second. You can see Palmer actually improving 8,000ths on a lap so far. As Palmer now comes through the left-hander. Pleasure to commentate for you guys here, of course, in SRS for tonight and indeed for the rest of the season. My name is James Head, of course, affiliated with TTG. TTML might be where you've seen me before doing some commentary. We're right on board with Palmer though, up towards Hawthorns. He's a 10th down on this lap. He's got Tap, Petrolhead and Volschweitzer, one of our other new drivers here out on track. We'll focus on him in just a little while. Just cuts through down towards Dingle Dell and then towards Sheens. Tap just in front of him might get in the way if he's quick enough. Seal's certainly getting in the way, and there was a spinner there from Petrolhead, I think, as Palmer is a 10th and a half down. We'll see how Black is getting on in behind him as well. Black will be hoping to set a really good time. Both of them, of course, in the Corvettes for TSR, Team Sim Sport Racing. We'll try to improve to 23.9. Black cuts across the pit lane. Unlike in a formerly known league, you do not get a penalty for coming into the pit entry like that. And Black now coming out through the corner. I'm just going to have a little bit of a break because my headset, the engine noises are coming through quite loud. So I'm having to speak quite high. So I'll just try and sort this out for 1 second and I'll be back. There we are, I'm back. Sorry about that. Just trying to get my headset sorted out. I think I've sorted out the problem there. Doug, Hair Razor, both in the Costa livery cars. Doug actually has been fresh into the pit lane, so I wonder if Hair Razor is on a lap here to come back in. 4 minutes to go though in qualifying. It's Black out on top, Seal second, Palmer in third, and as I predicted rightly, Hair Razor into the pit lane. Splash also into the pit lane to fill up on 79 litres of fuel, 78 litres of fuel. These guys will keep on going, I believe, out on track. Hair Razor exits out the pit lane, and let's see how one of our new drivers is getting on. Volschweitzer, there he is through turn one. Superboy comes diving down the inside of him there, and now Volschweitzer, Superboy and Volschweitzer getting each other in the way here a little bit. They've got to calm it down. This is only qualifying, it's not a race. They've got to find space out on track, relevant space out on track. I mean, I can see a gap of about 3 seconds behind the Tap that Superboy could easily fall back into, but Volschweitzer from League of Europe Formula 1, from GT Sport I should say, but he has been part of League of Europe in the past, and he comes here fresh in the hope that he could be trying to deliver some good performances out on track. Tap as well, there 2.6 seconds off. We'll go on board though with Palmer, who I do believe is on a lap, and he's improving by 800. Coming through the second sector. Of course, there are 5 sector zones around here at Brands Hatch, one across the start-finish straight. First sector is coming through Graham Hill Bend and through Druids. Second sector is just after Surtees, 200s up from Palmer through the middle sector. Through the third sector was on the run up towards Hawthorns. Through the fourth sector is down towards Stirling, and then the fifth sector, of course, is the start-finish line to complete the lap. Not the traditional 3 sectors that you get. Kate Dock goes fourth, and he goes 900ths off the back of Palmer, 22.4 from him, but Palmer is improving by 5,000th of a second, currently out on track, and now Palmer reaches towards clearways and through Clark Curve for what could be one of his final runs out on track with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go here in qualifying. Palmer then running right to the line. He will improve ahead of Black. What's the time going to be? 21.1. He improves by 1/10 of a second and he goes quickest. Black is 5/10ths down through the middle sector. We'll see on board then with CO. So he is getting on, and he's a 10th down coming up through the first sector. Let's see how Tice is getting on. Tice is 1200ths up. 5/10ths off the pace currently in terms of Palmer's lap time. But Tice now coming through the right-hander at the top of the hill. Highest point on the track. Gets very leery on the exit. But Tice now running up towards the next bend through turn 7 and then towards Stirling's. And he's now 400ths up, so he's finding a little bit of time now, the Mercedes man. with a minute and a half left to go. Pretty much now, this will be his final lap though. He'll probably go on to, I would imagine. You can see the marbles there on the outside line through the corners. Tice now through the final corner out on track. He will improve, I think, as he comes towards the line. Let's see what he's going to do. Yeah, he does. He still stays fifth, but at 22.666, so all the sixes there for Tice. Out on track. Black is coming down towards Hawthorns. Let's see what he's doing through the first sector. He's 2 tenths down, is Black. So Palmer currently holding things out in front. Black in second. Will continue to run on board with the dodge. He now comes through at the top of the hill from Hawthorns, all the way down now towards Sheen. And Sheen Curve being the next corner, of course, out on track through turn 7. 50 seconds left. He's really got to get a lap in, and he's now losing time, Black. 3 tenths down through what will be towards the final sector now. Through clearways, he's only got one more chance, I think, at this. CO, however, is improving through Hawthorns. Not sure what he's done, but it's a purple middle sector, and he's improving, possibly ahead of Palmer at this stage. Gets very wide, coming through Dingledell, and now on the run through Sheen. Looking very nice indeed, doesn't want to run too wide. Beautiful through there, he's 300 down, so he's actually lost a little bit of time through the fourth sector. And now, towards clearways and Clark Curve once again. We see the camera tray flies through our camera shot there. And the Swede, hoping to try and put it on pole position. He's just falling short of his personal best at this stage. But Seo, round the final corner, can he improve ahead of Palmer? Across the line. 22.3, he doesn't improve in the end, and that is his final lap. KK Dot is going to be one of the first to come across the line along with Doug. We might get some improvements here, but KK Dot at the final corner in the Porsche. Porsche really liking this track, I do believe. KK Dot across the line, he doesn't improve by 800ths of a second. We saw Splash improve to 22.9. Viper has done, Tice has done, Bullfusher Darwin now is coming towards Clark Curve through the final corner. Bull around the final corner now towards the line. Palmer as well on a good lap. Let's see what he can do. Across the line, he doesn't go across the line. Bullfisher does improve. Petrolhead improves up into 8th position. I think we've only got a limited amount of guys now on a lap. I think it's Tap and Black. Let's see what Black's doing through the final corner at Clark Curve. Let's see what he can do. 10th down on Palmer. He's really got to find the time here. Cross the line. He doesn't improve, and it looks like Palmer has taken pole position here in SRS Motorsports League for Season 2, Round 1 here at Brands Hatch. 60 minutes awaits us, of course, out on track. But Palmer is the one that has taken pole position. We are just waiting on, I believe, somebody who is non-existent to finish off a lap. It's Seo actually on a lap, and Seo not improving on his lap. He comes across the line, and that is qualifying over and done with. So that officially ends it. Palmer out on top by a 10th of a second, Black in second, and Seo in third. KK Duck with a very good qualifying session there in fourth, and Tice in fifth. But here we go. Hope you're on the edge of your seats. Hope you've got the popcorn at the ready, because we're about to get going here at Brands Hatch for round 1 of the championship in the SRS Motorsports League. It's Palmer out on top, Black in second, Seo in third. AMG against Vipers off the start. The Porsche might get a good start as well. We now look down from this wide-out camera angle. An hour awaits here out on track, and we're about to get going here in Brands Hatch for round 1 of the championship. Long hole, but it's lights out and away we go. Palmer gets a very good start. Tice has got a good start, and KK Dot falls down to 6th position. Falls down behind Viper, but through turn 1, Black and Seo go side by side, the two Dodgers, but Palmer leads through Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Seo in second, Black in third. Everyone clean through. Petrolhead making up ground now on the inside. Now KK Dot gets through and he's up into 6th, so the Brit goes past the Spaniard. Viper getting very leery out the right, out wide through Druids, and now tries to capitalise on Tice, but he doesn't quite get the move done. Looking good though through the first 2 sectors, and Palmer leads coming through from Seo in second, Black in third, then Tyson fourth, Viper fifth, Petrolhead in 6th, KK Dot in 7th. They all run a little bit of a train now running down the straight, with Bo in 8th, Splash in 9th, Doug in 10th. Superboy is trying to have a look here at Hair Razor down in towards Hawthorns. I'm not sure if he's going to get the move done. No, he backs off. Tap and Walsh-White, I think, caught up in an early collision. They're down in 13th and 14th, a little way off the pace for now. But Palmer has got a little bit of an advantage here. 0.3 of a second. It's not that much though, because Seo is all on the back of him. Now Viper is going to look quite strong in the early opening stages of this race, but Palmer will be hoping to try and pull away with that Porsche, with that Mercedes power, I should say. As Petrolhead gets wide coming through, and Petrolhead now, of course, up to 6th, passing KK Dot in 7th. but towards the end of lap 1, it is Palmer who leads by 0.5 of a second from CEO in second, Black is in third, Tyson fourth, Viper in fifth, they fly through camera shot, Petrolhead 6th, K&K Dot in 7th, Bullfisher Dara 8th, Splash 9th, Doug in 10th, Airraiser 11th, getting under attack by Superboy down the inside through Paddock Hill. Through is Volschweitzer on tap, so Volschweitzer has now gone through to 13th on tap. And looking through, nobody is close enough from Roof. Further down the field, Splash is under pressure. Bullfisher Dara, sorry, he's under pressure from Splash, and Doug is trying to get on the act here as well. Now coming through Surtees once again, second time around. You can see Splash trying to take the outside line coming through there. But just will have to drop out slightly to get back the spectate cam, and right on board then with Bullfisher Dara. He's now under pressure from Splash, and look at the speed of the Mercedes to try and go around the outside of Hawthorns. He'll be thinking to try and get the move done, but he has to fall in behind because you do not want to risk it going too wide through Hawthorns. It can be done with what we see throughout tonight, but Splash on the back of Bo. And these guys are 4.5 seconds off the pace for now. Looking further ahead, CO has lost a little bit of time as Palmer absolutely accelerates away. He's now a second clear. And if there was DRS around this track, then Palmer would have broken that DRS zone out on track. CO was in second, Black is in third. Tight under pressure from Viper though. Viper gets a tremendous run in the Viper appropriately. Now across the line to start lap 3. He's right on the back of Tyson coming towards Paddock Hill Bend, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. Just getting caught on the outside marbles there slightly. Petrolhead just dropping off the pace slightly there in 6th. K&K Dot now in 7th. Looking through as we see the wide out camera angle, the side by side between Bullfisher Dara and Splash. Splash tries to go around the outside. I think we've also seen a move from Superboy on hair raisers. Superboy is now through and he's up into 11th as well. Bullfisher Dara, however, still under attack from Splash, and Splash is all over the back here. We'll ride on board with him as he comes through. K&K Dot runs wide on the marbles, and this could give Bo a little bit of a chance in the McLaren to close up on the back of the Porsche. The Porsche really not liking things on the marbles there, and here comes Bo towards the outside line through Hawthorns. He will switch to the inside, try and get a little bit of a toe, little bit of a tap there, I think, from Bo on the back of K&K. Unintended, of course. But K&K Dot remains in position. He's still 7th, Bo in 8th, Splash in 9th. He's now right through down Dingle Delve through the third time. Splash in there 9th, Doug in 10th. All the action happening further down the field, but Palmer is out in front, and it's still a second the gap out on track from CO in second, Black in third. Black just hounding the back of his teammate here, and hopefully he's going to provide a good race out on track. It's certainly been a good race. We've hardly seen any contact so far as well, which I'm really glad to report. Tice then is on the back of Black coming across the line, and again Black comes to the inside through Paddock Hill Bend, forced out the outside line. Team Simpac Racing, of course. I did say another name, I think, earlier on, but still, Palmer leading the way. CO in second, Black in third. We see position, a little bit of a fight down, and Bullfisher Dara is through on K&K Dot. That is through Druids. Bullfisher Dara getting up on the inside line there. We didn't see what happened, but Bullfisher Dara capitalises on K&K Dot running wide, I think, and K&K Dot now under pressure from Splash, and Splash tries to hunt around the outside line. It's the natural racing line through Surtees, and then the run down towards Hawthorns once again. But Splash now on the back of K&K Dot can only really go one way. The Mercedes is very quick in a straight line. Porsche also, though, very quick around this track, so the nullified effect, I think, you're going to be seeing here of the advantage between them both. Nobody is going to really have an advantage out of these two. Back to the leaders, though, and Black is still all over the back of CO. Really hassling him, I've got to say, is Black. He looks quicker than his teammate. Whether or not there'll be team orders will remain. Palmer will lead by 1.2 seconds, and look at the pace of that Mercedes. He's just getting away purely out on track because of the pace, and the more gap he begins to pull out, the more difficult it is for the guys behind to try and overtake. They're stuck now in a little bit of a rut. They're stuck, really, to try and get any overtakes done in behind, and Palmer is at a big advantage here coming across the line. Just seeing action further down the field. Bullfisher Dara and K&K Dot once again. K&K Dot and Bo serving up their respective penalties. The penalties line, of course, on the right hand side, really to the adjacent wall. Bullfisher Dara very slow now. Superboy coming down the inside. Bo pushes them nearly onto the grass. Superboy, though, finds room, and Superboy somehow gets through. Very nice racing there by Superboy, and he's through, and he's up into 10th position in that dodge. Bullfisher Dara has dropped down to 11th as a result of that penalty. Hair Raiser just forced out wide there slightly. Bullschweitzer latching onto the back. Tap struggling there at the back, but he's still 15 seconds off the pace as here comes Black on the back of CO, running down towards Hawthorns once again. And coming fastest lap, 122.4 from Palmer. Black is a 10th up on that lap, so theoretically he might be going quicker than Palmer on this excursion around Brands Hatch. We expect somewhere around 44 laps in terms of race distance. Race distance around this track, of course, quite high, but expect about 44, maybe even 45 laps if we can try and sneak it out. It could be a little bit less than that, but that's the calculations we've done in the background. As Palmer leads the way, Seal in second, Black in third. Black is still hounding the back of Seal. They're running in a bit of formation. They begin to pull away from Tice though. Viper there in fifth, doing a good job in the Viper. Petrolhead in sixth, Splash in seventh, Doug in eighth. Superboy now under pressure from Bo, and Bo to the outside line. Coming down the straight, there is Superboy to the right-hand side of him, and down into the braking zone. He's got Hairzor right in behind him. He'll switch to the inside line through Paddock Hill Bend. This is a great run for Bo. Superboy tries to get him to the right-hand side line, but there's no way of stopping the McLaren coming down the inside. Bo Shadara is through, and Hairzor looks like he could come through here as well. And Superboy just trying to get the elbows out slightly, and he forces Hairzor to go in behind once again. But Bo Shadara is through, and he's up into 10th, and we've got Kenke Dot now on the back of Doug, and this is for 8th position out on track. 8 minutes gone. Palmer leads, Seal second, Black in third. You're on board with Kenke Dot and Doug, and also Superboy, Hairzor, and Bo Shadara for 10th, 11th, and 12th out on track. But we run on board again with the battle for second. Palmer, that gap has just stabilised. A second leading out in front from Seal in second, Black there in third. Oh, and Viper has gone wide. Viper goes very wide, coming through the corner just before Cleaways, and again he's gone wide, and the Viper really struggling, and nearly into the wall he goes. But Viper having to recover that. He's lost all amounts of time, but he luckily somehow recovers that. But he's going to have a lot of dirt and a lot of grass on those tyres, and that was through Sterling's where we lost that. Down through Cleaways and then towards Clark Curve, a little bit Larry coming through Cleaways. But Viper, really good car control to keep that going. He's just got to try and get onto the back. Tice is 3 seconds behind. Black is right on the back of Seal. Seal is all under pressure here. Team Simpac Racers going right at it here, and Palmer has actually lost a little bit of time, I think. It's about a second, and now Black down the inside of CO, down through Surtees, gets the move done. So Black is through, up into second. Seal there in third, running very low gears, and that's to try and protect his teammate. So Black has made the move on his teammate, he is through, and he's up into second and can now focus on Palmer. So we're pretty much back at square one from last season. Palmer leads by 1.4 seconds from Black in second, Seal now third. Viper, after that mistake, still in fifth position, looking further down the field as well. Kenke Dot still trying to hound the back of Doug under pressure. Doug there in 8th position, Kenke Dot in 9th, and this Porsche right on the back of the Mercedes. And of course, expect the top 3 to come in for interviews as well afterwards as Doug runs out wide. Got to be careful rejoining track. Kenke Dot says it all around the outside. Takes full advantage of a Doug mistake, and Kenke Dot's through, and he's up into 8th. Bo Shadara now is on the back of Doug. And Doug, another one, that's just losing it. Bo Shadara nearly loses control of the car coming through Clark Curve. Really good drifting through there, if I've got to be honest. Nearly went careering into the back of him. But now he's going to have a go down towards Paddock Hill Bend. He doesn't eventually, but Doug seems to be really struggling, maybe with the tyres. Now Bo comes towards the outside line, now on the inside line up towards Druids. But Doug stays in 9th position. Bo in 10th, Hairzor 11th, Superboy in 12th, Volschreiter 13th, Tap there in 14th. And CO has made a mistake somewhere out on track. Away from our camera shot, CO has made a mistake, and Tice is now through and he's up into 3rd. So that is crucial. It is now 1-3 for the Sidemax boys, 2-4 for the TSR boys. And Palmer leads, oh, and Seal gets caught on the grass. Tice shutting the door on him, but Seal's got a great run now, up towards the corner before Dingledell and Sheens, and Seal trying to get in there. That's through Westfield Bend, and now up side by side through Sheen. No way, he's got to try and get this move done, and he has to back off, and Tice in 3rd. But you've got to credit Seal for actually trying to pull off that move around the outside, running up through Sheens, obviously on the inside line. But Seal remains in 4th position. 10 minutes through, Palmer leads, Black in 2nd, Tice now in 3rd, Seal in 4th, and Seal's just lost a little bit more time off Tice. Tice pulls away by nearly 5/10 of a second coming across the line, and still fastest up of the race set by Palmer. Looking further down the field, Petrolhead has now been overtaken by Splash. So Splash is now up into 6th. Petrolhead Having good early pace in the Jaguar, but he's really beginning to struggle out on track. Splash is now through and he's up into 6th. And Kenke Dot, I believe, is also through on both for Shadara, and he's up into 8th position. So the Spaniard doing a good job out on track. Looking further down the field, nothing really happening in terms of the battle, so we'll focus on Seo and Tice for now. As they come through, Surtees once again, and towards Pilgrim's Drop. Seo right on the back of Tice, 4/10 of a second, separating up towards Hawthorns. Seo just really needs to put Tice under a little bit of pressure. If there was any weakness, I think, in any of these drivers, it's probably trying to force a little bit of a mistake out of each other. Superboy, I'm not sure if he's disconnected or has left the session. Black, however, is now getting onto the back of Palmer, and I get a sense of deja vu here from SRS last season. Remember, Palmer and Black had a really good battle last time out last season in SRS. Brands Hatch, of course, featured on the calendar last season, and I think it was Palmer that took it last time out from Black, but Black now is just under a second off the back of Palmer, within slipstream range, possibly down the straight. Seo as well, closing up to the back of Tice. Again, not close enough for a move. These guys setting consistent 23s by the looks out on track. Viper's trying to get a little bit closer as well. He's 2.6 seconds off the back of Seo. And after that early mistake, or after the mistake of just a couple of laps ago, Viper seems to be coming back into contention. There's Splash in 6th. Kenke Dot now is still 8th. Ball for Shadara, though, with Black Lives Matter there on his livery. A powerful subject, of course, in 2020. And he closes in on the back of Kenke Dot. Kenke Dot just getting a little bit wide there. Catches onto the marbles coming through Graham Hill Bend. And, of course, British touring cars, if you watched it earlier on ITV4, we're going on the Indy circuit. There's 2 different layouts, of course, around here at Brands Hatch. The Indy layout, which the British touring cars use, amongst other things, and the Grand Prix layout, which used to be, of course, the Formula 1 track around here. The boat right on the back of Kenke Dot. Looking towards the top end of the field, though. Black is putting Palmer under pressure, and it's 5/10 of a second now, and he sets a purple 4th sector out on track. Remember, there's 5 sectors here out on track. Looking at the tyre wear out on track, it looks to me as if Black has got better front tyres than Palmer's front tyres on his car in the Mercedes. And now the Viper takes it down on the inside line, running adjacent to the pit walls. We start lap 11 here, nearly 15 minutes through. So nearly quarter way through the distance already. Palmer leads, Black 2nd, Tice 3rd, Seo in 4th, and again Seo trying to put Tice under a little bit of pressure. But Black down the inside line through Druids, really putting now Palmer under pressure. We'll try and focus on both battles at the same time. I can appreciate I've only got one pair of hands, as Seo is still right on the back of Tice there. Black is also on the back of Palmer, and Black will be hoping up towards Hawthorns they can try and have a run for the race lead. So, champion against runner-up last season here in SRS Motorsports. Palmer, Black. It's the old guard that shows the way. And running up the hill through Hawthorns once again, onto lap 12. Palmer still leads, but look at Black. He is just hunting them down. There's no real opportunities for overtaking. You can see there the fuel as well. We might get 1 stop, we might get 2 stop strategies here out on track. I'm unsure about the qualifying strategies that these guys, or the race strategy that these guys have been doing. But Palmer still leads, Black in 2nd. Tice in 3rd, Seo, we catch it on board, just makes a mistake coming out through Sheens, and that gives Tice now a bit of breathing room by 7/10 of a second. Black really pressurising Palmer, who I think is into the pit lane. Palmer is into the pits from the lead of the race, and he comes into the pit lane. I wonder if he's going to go about 80 litres of fuel on this stint. And Palmer now readying up. Tice also into the pit lane, so expect Black, Seo and the likes to respond. 61 litres of fuel from Palmer coming out the pit lane. And Palmer rejoins in 5th position, to be honest. He rejoins behind Splash. He's 10.9 seconds off the race lead, who is now held by Black out in front. So Black leads, Seo in 2nd. It's an all-Swedish affair out in front now. Haber will be very proud with that. Viper in 3rd, Splash there in 4th, Palmer there in 5th, Kenke Dot in 6th. He's setting a personal best through the 1st sector. Both for Shadara in 7th. There's Tice, fresh out the pits as well. And he's also put on a very similar fuel load, I think, about 60 litres of fuel for Tice. And he is in 8th position. I think he's overfueled just a little bit more there than Palmer. Heavy's in now 9th, Doug in 10th, Petrolhead in 11th. Petrolhead, another one that has been into the pits. Schweitzer in 12th, really struggling with the fuel and the tyres. Tap in 13th, and Superboy, of course, out of the race, possible with a disconnect. let's run on board with Black, because really interested to see if he comes into the pits in response to Palmer. The gap to him is 11 seconds, so Black is actually finding a little bit of time out on track, and appropriately, yes, he does come into the pit lane. So Black into the pits from the lead of the race, and no double stacking, of course, in the TSR guys. A CO also comes into the pit lane through the final corner, and Viper as well. So, Black as we ride on board. Where is Palmer? Palmer's coming past us on camera position, and I think he's going to be behind. Yeah, Palmer actually going for the race lead. Down the inside on Splash, and Palmer is through and puts a car, interestingly, behind him, out on track, and it's a Mercedes as well. So Splash can keep up with the back of Palmer for now, but crucial that Palmer has got a car now behind him, and now that means Black can now be put under a little bit of pressure from Splash just in front of him. KK Dot there in fourth, Bull Star in fifth. Tice is really gaining on Bull, and it's 7 seconds really to Palmer from Tice. He is running in that third position now out on track. CO, by the way, also came into the pit in the undercut, quite potent around here at Brands Hatch, and there's a track, of course, that does favour the Brave. As we see further down the field, Petrolhead trying to catch up to the back of Doug. Doug not in the pit lane just yet, but he is looking like to go on to a one-stop strategy, really saving up the fuel nicely out on track. And there's Petrolhead there in 11th. Mercedes quicker than the Jag running down the straight. Palmer, though, has increased the gap, and this is the problem now. Splash has got to think about when he's going to pit. He's got more than 25 litres of fuel still in that car, so he could go at least another lap. But he decides to come into the pit lane and free Black. So there is Black now in second. KK Dot continuing on in now a third position. Both for Shadara and Tice though looking quite close. About 5/10 of a second as they come across the line. And just a 10th off his personal best there, Tice. Tice's personal best, 22.7. And 3/10 off Palmer's lap time. But looking really good out on track so far. Really hope you guys are enjoying the action. Of course, if you are enjoying it, like, comment, subscribe. Tick that notification bell, of course, if you are new. And if you are new, why don't you give us a subscription as well? 40 subscribers we're currently on. We want that to try and rise as much as possible throughout Season 2. And with a commentator like me on board, you wouldn't wonder why. Tice right on the back of Bo, who makes a mistake, coming through Surtees, and now Tice can use up the power of the Mercedes to try and close in, but crucially, Bull has got a little bit of slipstream on KK Dot just ahead of him, and they're really nullified up towards Hawthorns. We're nearly 20 minutes through the action. Tice right on the back. These guys just fighting through traffic. The more that CO gains on these guys for now, the more Tice is going to be held up by Bull. So CO could come to be a bit of an adversary possibly to Tice as Bull runs wide, coming through in towards Surtees. Tice right on the back of him on fresher tyres, fresher rubber, and he's trying to close in on the McLaren, and the McLaren to the inside line. He's not going to think about around the outside of Cleaways, as he knows. He switches to the inside line. I think Bo was trying to come into the pit lane there, possibly, but now Tice is through, and Bo, crucially, has to stay out another lap. I think he was aiming towards the pit lane, which is all a little bit of contact, but Tice is now through and he's up into fourth, so regardless if he was coming into the pit, it's a clean move out on track. 1.1 seconds is the gap for the lead. Palmer leads from Black in second, 15 laps through 20 minutes in terms of the time. KK Dot there in third, Tyson fourth, CO in fifth, and CO has picked up a 5:10 penalty. Remember, on the pit straight, these guys have got to run adjacent essentially to the pit wall, so they've got to go on the right-hand side of the straight to serve up their penalty. Otherwise, and they've got to serve it up on the same lap really as well that they pick it up on. If they don't, they're going to get a slap wrist possibly by the stewards, and of course we've got a professional team of stewards as always here in SRS. You can see from Seal's POV there, he's really beginning to close in on the back of Tice, and Tice is getting held up big time here. Let's run on board with Tice from the driver's point of view. KK Dot right in front of him and throws on a little bit of the hazard lights there, warning them he is right there. Now Tice right on the back. You can see the delta time, you can see the lap difference as well. He's 0.1 seconds off apparently in terms of his lap difference I should say, and now KK Dot into the pits, frees Tice. But what does that do? It gives Seal now a chance to run, and Seal serves up down the pit straight. That's perfectly acceptable, he had no one around him. Seal then in fourth, he gets thrown out onto the marbles though. Give Viper a bit of a look in through Paddock Hill Bend. He's 1.7 seconds off now. Splash and Sick. Doug still continuing on, possibly going for that one-stop strategy. Bullfisher Darwin, by the way, is out of the pit lane, and he is out in front of K&K Dot, and K&K Dot also fresh out the pit lane. So Bo has undercut K&K underneath the pit stops. And that means these guys are now running 9th and 10th. Heres are there in 11th. I think he might have just made a slight mistake coming out of Clearways and Clark Curve. Just lost the time there. We'll try to there in 12th and tap there in 13th. Back on board with the leaders. And Black, 1.2 seconds. See, in terms of the fuel, that Black is running slightly more fuel than Palmer. So he might have outdone him by a lap or two. But remember, that undercut is so potent around here at Brands Hatch. It can gain you something like 1.5 seconds a lap if you are on a set of soft compound of tyre. And that's what these guys, of course, are switching on to. There's no mandatory pit stops, by the way, to go onto a different set of tyre. Onto a set of mediums could work. If your drivers did want to do that, they can. But it just adds, I think, just a little bit more complexity, I think, into the races. We'd rather have a straight fight right to the line here in SRS. Just looking further down the field, K&K has got right onto the back now of Bo. You can see K&K has fueled up pretty much for a splash and dash almost towards the end of the race. He's still got quite cold tyres, but we're now right on board with Bumper Cam on board with K&K Dot and running down the straight. K&K is close enough. Tries to go for a lunge down in towards Paddock Hill, but remains in 10th position for now. You can see there, closes right up through Druids. Another one towards Graham Hill Bend once again. Right on board now with the Porsche. Beautiful looking livery as well on this Porsche. Gulf Racing colours, which I used to run in League of Europe, of course, if you did tune in for any of my races that I might have done on there. But so far, these guys really producing a good bit of action out on track. Palmer, Black seems like they're separated by about a second. K&K, though, closing up on Bo. Bo with that McLaren, though, just pulling away down towards Hawthorns, and he's got enough of a gap to hold sway in 9th and 10th. Heres are 11th, full try to 12th, and tap there in 13th. Goldstein for cars, by the way. If anybody does get lapped, Goldstein is off. So, Goldstein is on, sorry. Goldstein is on the lap car. So if anybody does get lapped, they can go inside of each other, and it'll be a bit of PG-18, but I think it's the fairest reason to have. As now, K&K right on the back of Bo. He's going to go around the outside and towards Clearways. Surely not thinking about it. Tries to switch it now. Down on the inside line. Gets the traction off the corner. And now the Porsche and the McLaren run side by side. Two historic manufacturers running down the straight towards Paddock Hill Bend for the 18th time. But Bo hangs on, and the Brits come out on top from the Germans. And it's like the Battle of Britain all over again. Bo defends his territory, and he's still in 9th position. K&K Dot there in 10th still. Looking further up, Doug getting closed down by Petrolhead, and Doug actually is now 5.2 seconds off the back of Splash as well. So Petrolhead really beginning to gain. His tyres beginning to come into play. Doug as well, still there out in front. Black is right on the back of Palmer. Looking up in the top right hand side of your screen, you can see them flying through towards Clearways and Clark Curve, the final corner out on track. And they're separated by about 0.8 of a second, I would say, out on track. We'll focus on Petrolhead for now, in this purple and black coloured Jaguar racing car. And Petrolhead, of course, didn't have the chance to run down who was in what team, by the way, which is not great. But Petrolhead is running by himself in the Jaguar F-Type, and doing a good job nonetheless. 0.8 of a second as we run on board with Palmer and Black. It's one of the only predictions I think I've got right so far here tonight. 25 minutes gone. We're nearly through the halfway stage here at Brands Hatch for SRS Motorsports League Round 1 of Season 2. Really hope you are enjoying things out on track. Palmer leads from Black in second, if you were just tuning in. Tice there in third, with Seal now beginning to get onto the back wheels, just beginning to reel them in slightly. They fly and nearly kill me over the camera shots there. 0.8 of a second separates these guys out on track, and these guys are going to be running maybe a 2-stop, maybe a 3-stop out on track. Viper there in 5th, there's Splash and Sick, Doug in 7th, and he's right under pressure now from Petrolhead. Petrolhead trying now to get a move done. Oh, he runs into the back of Doug. That's purely because he slid on the marbles, I think, as a result, and just overshot himself in the braking point. But Doug again, now under pressure, and again, once again, it's really nullified, I think, out on track between Doug and Petrolhead. These two cars going at it. And the Jag is quite quick through the corners. The Mercedes, though, is quite quick down the straight. And you can see a snap of oversteer there from Petrolhead. And Doug just about gets away by 0.3 of a second once again. This is about 8th position as well, out on track. Really enjoying the action so far. Palmer leads the way by 0.8 of a second. Doing a fantastic job so far out on track. From Black there in second. Tyson third. Keelan tuning in, of course, part of the SMM GT Sport team, the successful team that won against SCM, of course, in that event just a couple of weeks ago, coming in and saying, just stopping by to have a look. Well, you're having a look. SMM, of course, first and third, and it's really been that point of the race, I think, where SMM have been dominating. Tice as well in third, keeping off the attentions of CO. CO is in fourth, 0.8 off, doing a good job though. But the main battle beginning to happen once again. T5 Black, Palmer, 0.5 of a second here at Brands Hatch as we approach towards this halfway stage. Expect, I think, around 42, 43, 44 laps in and amongst that field, I think. And he's saying that he's watching the 6 hours of Spa, which Sidemax are winning. Sidemax also winning here in SRS, so it could be a good night for the Sidemax Motorsports, Sidemax Motorworks team. I need to get that right, remember? I'm sure TSR will give a good run for it though. Yeah, I think TSR doing a fantastic job out on track, both Black and CO, and they're really beginning now to put the SMM boys under a bit of pressure. Black 0.3 away up towards Paddock Hill Bend for the 21st time out on track. Palmer still hanging on. But the more that Black reels in Palmer, the more that you would feel that Black is beginning to come into play. He looks to have currently Palmer's number as Petrolhead has left the session. Not sure what has happened there. But obviously focusing on the guys in front. And why wouldn't we focus on the guys in front? There's probably so much happening as well further down the field. Doug and Bofa Shadara fighting towards turn 1. And McLaren very late on the brakes, but the Mercedes gets a line through Paddock Hill Bend and it remains as we are. 7th position, KK trying to close in there as well. Palmer though, 500 off on his lap. New fastest lap of the race, by the way, 22.1 from Black. That was set on lap 15, as you can see to the right-hand side of your screen there. The purple indicates that they are on a faster lap than necessary, but Black, right on the back of Palmer, only takes one mistake from anybody out on track, and it really throws up a bit now of trouble for anybody that might be trying to chase down the leader. But Palmer now beginning to manage himself well. They're coming up to a lap car as well, which I think is Tap, coming through the final corner at Clearways. But Palmer there, 0.7 of a second. Black there in second. Tice there in third. Tice managing the gap well to CO. CO not really getting any closer to the guys. These guys are obviously trying to run as low fuel as possible towards the end of this race. But my fear is these guys might have to go splash and dash towards the end of the race. They may as well. Black on the back of Palmer. I'm going to say that plenty of times, by the way, through this season. Palmer still leads from Black in second, as we are now pretty much at the halfway stage. Tyson third, CU in fourth. Viper, by the way, good recovery from him, I've got to say. He ran wide coming through the final couple of corners, through Cersei's and also through Sterling's, I should say, and then through Clearways. He went onto the grass, lost about 3 seconds. The gap is stagnant to 4.4 seconds with CO, but he's in a bit of no man's land. He's controlling that position so far. Black right on the grass there, coming through Hawthorns, and now through onto the Derek Minter straight, and then on the run down now towards Sheens once again. And Black right on the back. Let's take it on board with Black. I will shut up a minute so you can hear the beautiful engine notes of this Viper. And now on the run through Clearways and Clarkov once again. Palmer into the pit lane from the lead of the race. We predicted that. Black now, oh, as Palmer hits the wall, coming into the pit lane. That will not do him the world of good at all. That could have cost him a little bit more time. So Palmer hit the wall coming into the pit lane. We'll see how much he fuels up. Tice also into the pits, which presents a TSR 1-2 once again. But now Palmer has now got to fly out on track, and he fuels up 62 litres of fuel out on track, so he might have to pit again. But he's out there in fourth position. That's Viper just ahead of him out on track. Splash there in fifth, Tyson 6th. We'll get it easily ahead, I think, of Bo for Shadara. Out the pit lane he comes. Bo will be to the right-hand side of him, as you see in the camera shot, and yeah, Tice gets ahead He's in clear air and he's in 6th position. Bo there in 7th, Kenke Dot in 8th. The Hair Racer now dug down to 10th. Ultrafighter and Tap now getting the blue flags from Black in behind him. But now we come into the second half of the race, and this is where things will begin to get a little bit interesting, I think, in terms of the gaps for the lead. We'll expect Black and Seal to pit in. Might expect Black to pit in this lap. Seal as well will probably pit in this lap as well, as Tap is ghosted. He doesn't have to get out of the way. And Black now gets around the outside of him and disposes of the back marker, and he's into the pit lane from the lead of the race. And Black cuts across. That's a beautiful pit entry, saving all the ground through there. No penalties for coming into the pit lane exit either. You can do that. Palmer, though, is only at clearways. So I think Black might have a bit of an advantage. If he was to come out the pit lane about now, I think he might have a bit of an advantage as Black comes out the pit lane, and I think this is going to be really close. I think Black has done this. Black is now ahead of Palmer. How crucial is that? That pit hitter in the pit wall from Palmer really cost him. And it cost him about 0.3 of a second. And look at the gap. It's 0.4 of a second. That is how much Palmer has been cost. And now, advantage Black out in front. He's got Seo, who's still going on another lap as well. Game on between the front two. Black and Palmer currently 2nd and 3rd. Seo leading the way, but it's game on once again. Black and Palmer with 27 minutes to go. And this is going to really heat up very quickly. Palmer closes in on the run down towards Hawthorns. He's 0.2 up on his personal best, trying to respond to Black's fastest lap. 22.326, his personal best lap is Palmer's. But now Black trying to hold on desperately for 2nd position. Palmer there in 3rd. Really crucial, I think, for the Viper to get ahead of the Mercedes. 1/10 of a second up on his personal best, just wide slightly, coming through Sterling's. Palmer now on the run through clock curve once again, and we're right on board now with hood cam. Seo into the pit lane with 1 litre of fuel. Palmer will close up. He's not going to be close enough from that far back, I think, to have a go. 22.2 responds with a personal best. He's about 400 up the fastest lap of the race so far. But now Palmer has got to put Black under pressure. It's going to be like last season all over again, I feel. Splash in 3rd, doing a good job. He's still yet to come into the pit lane, actually, and he could manage it towards the end of the race. Could Splash. The further he goes in this race, the more likely he will get towards the end of the race. Tice there in 4th, Seo in 5th. Bullfush is still going there in 6th position. But Tice now under pressure as well from Seo. 4th and 5th. These guys will be 3rd when Splash does come into the pit lane. They've got Tap, a lap car just ahead of him as well. Kenke Dot's beginning to come into this race as well. He's pitted back in. He's on the back of Bo. He had more fuel, obviously, and he's going for a bit of a splash and dash towards the end of the race. This could be really crucial, I think, for Kenke Dot. The more time he now closes in on Bo, the more likely he might be in for P5, P6 finish, possibly, for the Spaniard. I'll have to wait and see what that does. Palmer, though, as we ride back on board with a battle for the lead. 0.5 of a second with 25 minutes to go. If you haven't got your cup of tea, if you haven't got your popcorn, I would get it out now, because we're starting to reach the crescendo of this race. With 25 minutes dead on as we come across the line onto lap 26, it's Black who leads. Palmer 2nd. Splash then into pit lane in 3rd. Tice, though, under pressure from Seo. Seal once again. You can see the mile an hour and the RPM that he's using to the right hand side, and you'll see the throttle input about 50% committed on the throttle, or on the brakes there down towards turn 1 of Paddock Hill Bend, and then flat onto the brakes. 100% of brake coming through turn 2. Good, really interesting, I think, to see the telemetry as well out on track. Gives you guys as well, the viewers, a really good incentive to see what these guys are putting in terms of effort in those cars. Now we'll flick on board with Tice, who's in the same position. You can see to the top middle of your screen That is CO, and that is CO looking to get the move done. Now down towards Hawthorns, they're side by side. It's going to be a white drag race. I think Tice might just come out on top. He's got Tap just inside of him. Now Tice around the outside line trying to defend the position. They make contact. CO on the inside line has got the move done through Hawthorns. CO gets through on Tice. Tice trying to come back though through Dingle-Dell, but not quite close enough. CO is through and he's up into third. Really good racing now. A little bit of contact. It was always going to be Seal's position, I felt, though. And Seal now to third. Ty's trying to dive it down the inside. There's a little bit of contact. They don't want to get too aggressive out on track. These guys are laying everything on the line. Black now is still in the lead from Palmer in second. Seal runs out wide and now Tice gets a tremendous run through Clark Curve and now can get the run down towards Paddock Hill Bend. Is he going to think about switching to the inside line to have a go? He will think about it. He's very late, very committed on the brakes and a little bit of contact going through the corner, but Tice is still there on the inside line. Reminds me of Ashton and Colin Turkington earlier on in the day. Tice down the inside line of CO. Can he get the move done? The Mercedes on the inside line. The traction will be on the outside though. CO back in front, back ahead. Great racing between them both, and CO is through and he's up into third. Tice getting a little bit of a slide on, gives him just that little bit more breathing room, and CO just about hangs on and he's up into third. But Tice once again not done with, right on the back. You can see the slipstream now coming into effect. The Mercedes trying to close in towards the outside. He switches to the inside through Hawthorns, but CO hanging on, and Tice just losing a little bit of momentum coming through Hawthorns, and it gives CO a little bit of breathing room. Out in front, Palmer has just lost 0.2 of a second to Black in terms of what we saw last time around. Black still leads from Palmer in second. Really good action though out on track. Still 22 minutes to go. Plenty of stuff can still happen. KK Dot, by the way, is in fifth. He's really closing in, I think, now on Tice. Obviously, he'll have to come into the pit lane towards the end of the race, but he's in and amongst the same territory, I think, to get to the end of the race as the likes of Splash, maybe. As Splash now really begins to put himself under pressure, really, because Viper's on the back, and Viper in the Viper is on the back of Splash in the Mercedes. This is for 6th and 7th now out on track. Viper, I think, under-committed on a pit stop strategy, perhaps. He's lost the position to Splash, and now runs right on the back up towards Druids. Splash still stays in P6 for now. Black 0.5 of a second out in front. Palmer second, and they're coming up again for another lap car. That's Voltriter just in front of them. League of Europe driver turn into SRS Season 2 driver, and he's there in 11th position for now. He will be getting lapped, but he doesn't have to get out of the way. Probably will. Oh, Palmer! Very close to going on the grass there. Makes a slight mistake. Gives Black a little bit more of an advantage. And now the Mercedes tries to close in once again on the run down through Clearways and Clark Curve. Better stop lap 29 out on track. So just under 21 minutes to go. Black leads from Palmer in second. CO in third. Really beginning to pull out the gap now to Tyson. I think Tice might have just made a slight mistake there coming out of Sterling's. And Tice in P4. KK Dot losing time in 5th, but he will go splash and dash towards the end of this race. He continues on for another lap at least. Viper is still putting Splash under a lot of pressure. They run very wide. Coming through Clark Curve, we're right on board now. The look at the dash cam, 123.4 from Viper last time out, 122.9. You can see that right in the front, pretty much, coming through the camera shot. It's now Viper closes right back in. There's blue flags just ahead of him, but I think Viper might be just taking it a little bit cautiously, just in behind Splash, and trying to save up as much fuel as possible, trying to get to the end of the race with about 50 litres to go. Might not make it, but he's certainly going to give it a shot, I think. Hairraiser is into the pit lane as well there in 10th, as Hairraiser is going to be coming out the pit lane very soon indeed. With less than 20 minutes to go, he now fuels up and comes out the pit lane. 85 litres of fuel, that'll get him easily to the end of the race. Well out ahead of Voltriter. There is Voltriter. There is the leaders as well. There's Black and there's Palmer right in behind the camera shot, and Voltriter is going to let both the leaders through, which he shouldn't really be doing. He's a ghosted car still, but it's good to see good sportsmanship though in SRS, and that means Black and Palmer once again have got a clear track ahead of them, and that's 0.8 of a second. And Black really setting consistent lap times. Looking at consistent lap times, like 29, 22.2 from Black, 22.4 from Palmer, and you saw there, quick flash up, black, purple, first sector. So doing good out on track. We're on board with KK Dot. KK Dot into the pits, puts on a fresh set of rubber, and with less than 18 minutes to go, or just ticking under 19 minutes to go in fact, I think K&K will get to the end with about 60 litres of fuel. Yeah, 63 out on track, and that is his old rival, Bullfisher Dara, who's into the gravel! Coming through Paddock Hill Bend, he catches on the curb, coming through Paddock Hill, and he saw that clear as day. He will rejoin track on the curb. Doug avoids him, and Bullfisher Dara just overcommitted, lost his braking point. Too focused, I think, on K&K Dot ahead of him coming out the pits, and K&K Dot has got no contest for that position now, and he's still in 7th. Doug there in 8th. Bullfisher Dara now back down to 9th. Viper putting Splash again under pressure. Coming through the right-hander of Hawthorns once again. And Palmer really beginning now to struggle. 18 minutes to go, the gap is out to 1.1 seconds. It might not seem like much, but honestly, around a track like Brands Hatch, it's very difficult to come from this far back. Palmer, right on the back then of Black. Through Druids, it's 1.3 seconds. He's just trying to commit a good exit. Coming out of Druids, now on the run down through Graham Hill Bend once again. Black leading the way from Palmer in 2nd. Just seen, by the way, if anything has been said about Superboy. And Superboy saying he might need a long break from racing regarding his disconnect. But regardless of that, I mean, it's the first race of the season. You don't really want to be complaining first race of the season when there's still 8 rounds left. And Sardinia is, of course, next week. Black leading the way from Palmer in 2nd. Seals pulled away from Tice as well. Tice now beginning to struggle. They've undercut the strategy, I think, the SMM boys. They could be on the ultimate strategy towards the end, but it'll be very interesting to see. Splash there in 5th with Palmer still... Viper in 6th. K&K Dot 7th, there's Doug in 8th, Bullfisher Dara is 9th. Heroes are in 10th, Bullfisher Dara was actually gaining on Doug by 0.6 of a second last lap around, 133 flat. Doug was a 125 flat, so he's actually lost a little bit of time there in terms of best, and Palmer is in. Palmer into the pit lane, will put on just about 50 litres of fuel, I think, when he comes out the pit lane here. So Palmer, with 16.5 minutes to go, commits himself now, and he commits himself right out behind CO, and that is a good place to be in. He comes out the pits behind CO, he's got about 60 litres of fuel in that car, and CO is 18.5 seconds, and now Black will be imploring at this stage. There he is out in front. Black will be imploring his teammate to hold him up as much as possible, because if Palmer made a similar mistake like he did in the pit entry, like he did last time around when he came into the pit lane, it now means Palmer has got all of the, well, he's got all of the work to do, basically. Palmer in 3rd. Viper losing a little bit of time now to Splash. Splash running better tyres, better fuel, and pulling away from Viper there in 5th. There's Tyson clear out in 6th, Kincaid 7th, Doug in 8th, and Bullfisher Dara in 9th. These guys in a really good battle now. They're going to have a good battle for 8th here. Mercedes against McLaren. Really hope you've been enjoying this, guys, by the way. 32 laps in. No, it's quite a long race, 60 minutes. I'm trying to keep my best to stay in to the end of the race. Keelan's saying that was questionable. The cut got him out ahead. It was crucial. Here comes Bullfisher Dara, though, on the back of Doug. Not going to be close enough, though, in towards Hawthorns. And doing a good job out on track. He's right on the back of him. As we see him run down now the straight through Dingledale and then through Sheens and then towards Stirling's. Doug being put under pressure. Bullfisher Dara's opportunity, just tried to lunge it down the inside there. Would have had the overspeed, but didn't get the move done for now anyways. Bull right on the back of Doug. Doug under pressure, 8th. Bullfisher Dara 9th, and here comes Bull to the inside line. Doug, I think, might not put up a fight for this one, but he will. And Bullfisher Dara, in fact, is the one that breaks early, trying to maximise the exit. Coming up towards Druids. And Doug and Bull for 8th position. Bull very late on the brakes. Can he get the move done? Doug decides, you know what, I'll let you through. and he tries to commit himself with the power off the corner, but Bo is through and he's up into 8th position. Doug in 9th, a little bit sideways, but Bo's through and he's up into 8th position out on track. CO Palmer, 18.5 seconds really to Black, and Black still continuing on. This will be his final lap before he pits in for splash and dash towards the end of the race. He'll be on much better fuel, much better tyres. Black might have just done this one from this point on. 13 minutes to go, just over. And it's Black who leads the way, but we're now on board with a battle for second. Seal's gone into the gravel, runs wide, cut on board with the wrong driver then. Palmer's through. Palmer through and he's into second. You saw Seal just get caught on the grass on the outside. He's trying to maximise the exit through the corner, and that is disastrous for the TSR boys, because their Palmer is through and he's up to second. But crucially, actually, he's been cost time as a result of Seal's spin. Obviously, he must have made a slight mistake coming out of Paddock Hill Bend. But now Black is 19.5 seconds clear out on track. Palmer will begin to reel him in throughout this lap. There's a pit stop being made. Doug into the pit lane, should come out ahead of Hair Razor. But Black is on now his final stop. 19.1 seconds. The gap was about 19 seconds when they came out the pits. So I think Black is going to be out ahead by about a second. I think it's about an 18-second pit stop. I think he'll be out by about a second. Here comes Black then into the pit lane. You see him cut the corner beautifully coming through. And now Black into the pit lane from the lead of the race. And this is game time now. Palmer is there and he's only coming down towards Clark Curve. Black is going to be well out ahead, I think. Coming through the final corner. And Palmer is there at the pit entry. Seal was in. Black, though, is well ahead. It's probably more than a second, in fact. Palmer, second, and the gap is 1.1 coming out the pit lane. Advantage, you would imagine, is Black, but Palmer's got less fuel. He's got warmer tyres. He now needs to push. He needs to push like hell out on track to really try and secure a good position. Splash in third, Viper's round. Viper round as we ride on board, coming through Paddock Hill Bend. He got caught on the outside curve through the gravel, and Viper, he's been off twice in this race now. He's trying to recover the car. He cannot recover the car at all. Kenke Dot's now going to go through up towards Druids. That's Tap now getting unlapped, and Viper out on track, still trying to recover the car. And he has just about recovered that car, but look at his rear tyres. They are absolutely shot now. He will have to come into the pit lane. And Viper's race goes from bad to worse, I'm afraid to say. There's a yellow flag just ahead. That is not Black that has spun, that is Voltrite that has ran. Black leads 1.5 seconds from Palmer in second. And it really looked like halfway through the race that we were going to get this battle between Black and Palmer, but now the pit stops have unravelled. Black, I think, is going to win this one. 1.5 seconds, 10.5 minutes to go, just over. Black leads, Palmer second, Splash third. Splash doing a good job. He will have to come into the pit lane for Splash and Dash, appropriately. Tice there in fourth with Seal in fifth. Kenke Dot there in sixth. And in seventh is Viper. There is Viper just getting caught a bit leery again. Coming out through into Sterling's. There's Tap just ahead of him. I think Tap might have run out of fuel, has he? No, he hasn't. He's just going slow. Viper then. Wouldn't be surprised if you see him coming to pit lane. No, Viper continues on. Continues on for 7th. Bow in 8th. Doug in 9th. Harris at 10th. There is Tap into the pit lane. Voltrite has got a 4-10 penalty. He'll have to serve that up, of course, on the pit straight. Tice then, getting under pressure. TSR, I think, have undercut these SMM boys to absolute perfection. CO, it's 1.1 seconds off the back of Tice, but it is enough for him to get that little bit closer out on track, and they'd be hoping to really try and get some sort of retribution, I should say, out on track. I couldn't even get my words out with 10 minutes to go. CO on the back of Tice. Splash will have to pit, so we'll bring Tice and CO up into third. Splash, however, could join ahead of Kenke Dot, who gets very wide. Oh my goodness me! Nearly completely lost it through just after the corner. I'm trying to remember what corner. Westfield, I think it was. Yeah, Westfield Bend. He nearly lost it through there. Kenke Dot in 6th. Viper there in 7th. And Tice, CO, still 1.1 seconds. Let's get the driver's point of view then with CO. And on board on this Viper, 25.3 was his penultimate lap time around. It was a 22.5 last time around from CO. And we're right on board. You can see the interior of the car. See the camera reset button to the right hand side there as well. The air vents and the details, the finer details of inside a GT3 car. As he now comes through, flies through camera shot. That is his rear view. But that is the view in front of him. A second now to Tice. He's got about 500 quicker than Tice this time around. He's just going to put him under that bit of pressure, I think. Tice there in 4th. CO 5th. Palmer still trying to keep on in there on black. 8 minutes to go. This race has absolutely flown over, by the way. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this in SRS. There is a position change, and Viper's round again. Viper is round again. That is through Sterling's this time. And that's through Surtees even, I should say. And Viper now down to 8. Both for Shadara up to 7th, and Splash into the pits. He should come out ahead of K&K Dot, I think. K&K Dot is that second car, I believe, coming through. That's coming across the line now. Yes, Splash will be joined easily ahead of K&K Dot. That's Volschweitzer coming through. There is Splash. There is K&K Dot. K&K Dot going to be about 3 seconds behind, coming through Paddock Hill Bend once again. CO getting closer to Tice. He's not close enough though. Palmer, 1.5 seconds. These two are the main battles now that we're going to focus on right to the end of the race. But for Shadara, luckily, is into the pit lane. It gives Viper now that chance to come in into P8. But Viper's tyres and Viper's fuel is done. And he's now into the pit lane for P8 as well now. Promotes up, and Black has spun! Black has spun from the lead of the race! I can't believe what I've just seen! Black gets wide, coming through Westfield Bend. And that is unbelievable! Palmer inherits the race. How lucky can you get? Palmer is now in the lead of the race, and jumps of joy, I am sure, in the Palmer household. My goodness me, it is not often you see a mistake from TSR T5 Black, but that is what you have just seen. And Black has now just thrown away his chance of taking the championship lead into Sardinia. And that is now game over for the race lead. Palmer, I think, 8.5 seconds. Black, unless he's got a jetpack underneath that car, has to find something special. But Palmer now can just control the race as is his wont. And Black, so unfortunate with that spin. He just tried to correct it coming through. And unfortunately for Black, he's now down into P2. CO could try and make amends though for the TSR boys, because he's right on the back of Tice now, coming through Surtees once again, and then up the run towards Hawthorne's. Absolutely unbelievable. You do not see a rarer mistake out on track than Black's mistake just there. He's got the new fastest lap of the race for the 22 flat, but my goodness me, drama here in Brands Hatch. And if you've just tuned out and you've just tuned in, then yeah, you've just seen Black go down to second. CO right on the back. There is the brake marker just to prove why we went off as well. CO though was right on the back of Tice, trying to make TSR really good out on track. TSR getting involved as well in the comment section. I see you guys there as CO gets onto the back now of Tice. He's got to try and make amends for his teammate's mistake in second position from the race lead. CO now has got to put Tice under pressure. Tice sideways, and now CO, this is his opportunity, but Tice cuts completely across him on the racing line. He was going to do that anyways. Those rear tyres look short, and now CO down the inside line through Druids. On the outside line now towards Graham Hill Bend. Going to take some sort of commitment from CO to try and get the move done. He tries now on the inside line. Tice, did he push them onto the grass? CO, is he going to have a go down the inside line? No, Tice hangs on. Brilliant action now for third position. This is for the final podium. This is for the final interview as well. Out on track as now CO runs out the slipstream, tries to get the run. Has he got the speed down in towards Hawthorne's? No, is the answer. Tice hangs on for one corner more at least. Palmer still leads. 4 minutes to go here at Brands Hatch. Black now in second as a result of that mistake. Tyson third, CO in fourth. Splash has really undercut KK Dot in fifth position as well. Those guys are separated by about 3 seconds out on track. CO though, right on board with the bumper cam now. As he closes in on that side max, he can almost see, he can probably see those decals on the back of that car. Side max Multiworks right in his front mirror. As now CO pulls to the outside line down the straight. I think Tice might just have the run down towards Paddock Hill. CO's trying to go all the way around the outside of Paddock Hill. He's trying to switch it on the inside this time. And now up towards Druids once again. He's late on the brakes, CO. And he gets the move done down the inside. That is commitment and a half on the brakes. You've got to give your hats off to CO. That was so late on the brakes. He nearly overcommitted it, but what a move that is. That's the overtake of the race for me so far. CO is through, and he's up into P3. Tice felt the pressure. The pressure the pressure came, the pressure went. CO is through, and he's up into P3, and Tice's podium crumbles before his eyes, but he's still 4/10 off, and he can still have another go with, I think, 3 laps to go. So it is Palmer who leads. Black has eaten into that advantage at 7.8 seconds out on track, but Palmer doing a fantastic job. Got to be careful on his fuel though, as he comes across the line to start what will be the penultimate lap of the race. Black there in second. Tice right on the back of CO still, and Tice is still trying to find some way, somehow, some way. He's got to try and find the move that will get him back onto the podium. Splash there in 5th, KK Dot 6th, Bofa Shadara 7th, Doug in 8th, Harris in 9th, Viper 10th, Volschweitzer 11th, Tap in 12th. You can ignore all of those because we now right on board with 3rd and 4th. Tice ran wide through Paddock Hill, got caught on the gravel, gives CO more of an advantage coming through Druids. And CO in 3rd is just about hanging on for position for now. Tice there in the number 78 car in 4th, still doing a good job. He will change his livery up, I'm sure, for next week. That is probably the wrong livery. I've been informed that's the wrong livery on his car. Palmer's got the correct one. There he is, showing it off in the number 24, out in front. And with one more lap to go after this one, Palmer can control the race right to the flag, and it's going to be 43 laps. I did say to the guys before it would be 43 laps. I'm totally right. My first prediction that has gone right so far this season. CO and Tice. Think CO now might have just wrapped this up for 3rd. Tice there in 4th, Splash there in 5th position. Across the line comes Palmer though. The final lap of the race has begun, and touch wood, he's going to get home because that fuel is looking a little bit low. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine to the end of the race. It's quite a short track, Brands Hatch, so that's in his favour. But Palmer then leading on to the final lap of the race. Black there in second. What could have it been for Black? He had the race lead. He was controlling the race as well, and then he spun, and then he's in second. CO looks like he's made up for amends though from his teammate. He's there into 3rd. Looks like TSR will take the team standings, or the team lead I should say, in the standings in 3rd. He's improving on his personal best as well. There's Tyson 4th, Splash in 5th, really pulling away from KK Dot. Doug under pressure from both for Shadara. That could come down to a last lap battle. Harris are quite close to that as well. Viper there down in 10th, not his day at all. Volschweitzer and Tap. And now Palmer has only got a couple more corners to go between himself and victory. We now ride on board with the Side Max Motorworks Mercedes as he comes through Sterling's for the final time, and on down through clearways and towards Clark Curve. Palmer is the one that is going to be the beneficiary of Black's mistake. Palmer, round Clark Curve for the final time, is going to take the round one victory here. Absolutely thrilled with that, I'm sure. And Palmer wins from Black, coming across the line in second. He's going to feel dejected, but we move on to next week. He will recover, I'm sure. CO is going to make it a TSR 2nd and 3rd, and he's going to rob Tice of that podium. CO is going to come across the line to finish in 3rd. Tice there in 4th. just got outdone by strategy in the end, I think. Splash, good undercut performance from him in 5th. Really good drive in the Mercedes. Kenke Dot is going to be in 6th. That's Volschweitzer just going through, and Kenke Dot's run out of fuel. Kenke Dot has actually run out of fuel. There is Doug. There is Bo Fushidara. And Kenke Dot is going to be eaten into the advantage here. He's got no chance. Doug and Bo Fushidara are really going at each other. What they don't realise is Kenke Dot has completely overdone it on fuel. And he's now limping his way towards the line, and he's got no chance of keeping the 6th position. There they are in the background of shot. Kenke Dot has now been overtaken by Bo and Doug. Doug is going to hang on for 6th. Bo Fushidara is going to be 7th, and Herrez is going to be 8th. Unbelievable scenes late on. Doug across the line in 6th. Bo Fushidara 7th. Herrez 8th. Kenke Dot is limping towards the line. No fuel in that car. Luckily, it's a downhill run to the line. And Kenke Dot finishes in 9th. And that is it. Round 1 of the championship. Palmer is the one that takes the win from Black in 2nd. And CO finishes in 3rd position. And there is your victor, SMM Palmer. Pole position and the race win. Not the Grand Slam with the fastest lap. Black took that one. Fantastic racing though, out on track. And without further ado, let me get the top 3 in for their driver interviews. Really hope you guys enjoyed that. I know it was quite thrilling right at the end of that race. But let me find all 3 of them out on track and let me get them in. You will still be able to hear me, I'm sure. There is Palmer. Going to invite them in all at once, add them to the group, and then they'll be, of course, coming into our party. And we will be back in just a second as I type in the last name now. Getting this done very quick. And TSR CO is there. And that is that. So we will wait now on the top 3 to come in for their interviews. Palmer, I'm sure, is going to be absolutely thrilled with his performance. Black is going to be quite dejected, I think, when he does join the party. CO, of course, finishing in 3rd, running off a fine performance for the TSR boys in 2nd and 3rd. But more importantly, we have your race winner right here in the interview room. It is Mr. SMM_Palmer. And Palmer, you were on the back foot for a majority of that race. Talk us through what happened out there.
Well, my foot really hurts because I was pushing so hard that my left foot was starting to cramp. But oh yeah, I didn't really expect that, to be honest. After the second pit stop, when T5 got ahead of me, like those Vipers, they are quick. You know, I mean, I already knew T5 was quick, but you know, I was just really struggling to figure out where he got the pace from. But yeah, I mean, of course, qualifying was great. You know, that's the fastest time I think I've ever got around this track. But yeah, I couldn't really replicate it in my race. But yeah, I kind of lost for words in a way, and I'm so happy to start off this season with a win.
And with a win indeed, yeah. Fantastic performance from you out on track. But as I say, from the majority of that race, Black really outdone you in terms of the strategy. What were the elation? I'm sure there was elation from you in you driving out on track, but just talk us through what happened with Black's mistake, because you must have been so happy that happened.
Well, when T5 came out after this final pit stop, you know, of course I was quite sort of frustrated in that because you know, I tried to do the undercut, and of course it wasn't enough. And Tice literally said to me, you know, he could make a mistake, and then a couple of laps later he made a mistake. So, you know, I'd like to thank Tice for his wizardry. And yeah, I mean, I just couldn't really, like, I couldn't really yeah, like I said, I'm kind of lost for words of like with how it happened. Of course, it's such an easy corner to do that. You know, the best of us, you know, do that around Sheen Curve, and you know, unfortunately, of course, it was T5 who took the bullet round that corner. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm just very, very happy. You know, of course, technically I shouldn't have really got this win. You know, of course, it's, you know, it's not really, you know, the best way. Of course, you know, anyone should take the win, but, you know, hard luck to T5 Black. But, you know, of course, I'm still very, very happy to get the first win of the season.
Yeah, a win's a win at the end of the day, but remember there's 8 rounds of the championship still left to go. And with that being said, we go to a brand new track for the GT3 series. It is Sardinia, the A version of the circuit. Just talk us through how you think you're going to get on around there.
Well, it's definitely going to be interesting. So it's quite a tight circuit, but it's got quite long straights. So, like, judging by how fast the Vipers were round this track on the straights, it's going to be quite difficult. Then of course with the hairpins, of course, it's kind of going to be last of the late breakers and that, but it's very technical, especially the final sector. So, you know, hopefully that will be where the Mercedes comes to its own. You know, hopefully it's going to be a good battle. But of course, you know, I would like it to be easy, but on this, you know, on the other side, you know, I want to have a good battle.
Nothing is easy in GT Sport, especially in SRS. We've seen it so many times last season in Season 1. We'll move on now to our second place finisher, T5 Black, and I'm so gutted that I'm saying that he finished in P2, because you really controlled the race out there. Talk us through what happened.
Yeah, I have been on the edge in that corner for so many laps, and I didn't know what I was thinking. I started to stretch my legs and stuff like that, and a corner come up, and yeah, and the mistake was, yeah, it was there, yeah, not even much to do about it.
So were you in the same position then as Palmer, getting a cramp in your legs perhaps?
Yeah, and my elbow.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
That's an excuse and a half for anybody that is viewing the stream right now, but honestly, you really controlled the race out there. It's just a shame you made that mistake. You must still be happy with second place, though.
Yeah, I'm still happy with second place. All I can think about now, it's 8 rounds left, so anything can happen. And next track, just like Palmer said, the Vipers had good straight speed, so yeah, let's look forward to next week.
Let's look forward to next week indeed, and hopefully we get an instant classic that we were nearly going to get between you two out on track at Brands Hatch. And I was going to ask you how you get on at Sardinia, but you've already answered the question for me, so I don't need to ask it. But we shall move on to the third place man, brand new to our championship in the SRS GT3 series. It is TSR CO, and CO, great performance on the out on track, getting ties very late on. Talk us through what happened. It was a really good battle though between you guys, and it must have filled up with a sense of relief, to be honest, to finally get past him, because I thought Tice and Palmer, that strategy from SMM, they were going about a lap, 2 laps shorter than you guys. That undercut really worked in the end, and you managed to get Tice for third. Just talk us through how you got that move done. Apparently we can't hear you according to Tice, so you might have to turn your party settings on to allow.
Oh.
I'm not sure if you can do that. I'm not sure if you know how to do that actually.
Partyinställningar så tillåt sändning av din röst.
So we should hopefully have him.
supportinställningen. Och tillåt sändning av din röst.
Okay, so maybe now.
Maybe now. Right, hopefully we can see Seal now on the stream. And Seal, we were just talking about how you got third place for Tice. Just inform... Oh, God. I've just put my foot through my linen basket, which is not great. Never put your foot through a linen basket. That's what I've just learned. But talk us through what happened out on track, because you got Tice very late on in that race.
Yeah, it was. We went through each other a couple of times, and he was before me, and I think I had a little bit better tires, and just managed to overtake him.
And it was a good overtake nonetheless as well. Gets TSR second and third. And I believe because you guys are running a team together, you now lead the team standings. So that must fill yourselves with quite a lot of pleasure.
Yeah, that's really good. It's funny.
It is funny, but you've got a real challenge then, SMM. And looking ahead, final question, looking ahead to Sardinia, how do you think you're going to get on around there?
You're going to crush them.
Crush them with crush.
I think Vipen is really good there, so, but we will see.
We will see, and the only way that everyone can see that's tuning into the stream is to tune in next week to SRS Motorsports League for round 2 of the championship in Sardinia. It's the A version of the circuit. We'll be live from about 5 to 7 next week. I will be taking you through the action as always. Thank you to Palmer, thank you to T5 Black, and thank you to CEO for all of your interviews. I'm sure you guys in the chat heard a lot of insight there about what it's like to be a driver in SRS GT3 series. But that is the end here tonight in the SRS GT3 series, and indeed for tonight. Thank you so much for watching here at Brantach. Tune in next week, as I say, to Sardinia. Until then, I've been James Head. Please take care of yourselves. Please stay safe. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.